So we talk a lot about irrigation systems. They can be extremely helpful for having healthy plants in a healthy garden. You can have a really simple controller or a really complicated controller that you can, use on your phone, different zones, all that things. But anyway, irrigation systems are wonderful if you can have one. They help you water very early in the morning before you want to get up at probably 4 a.m. And can have more consistent watering and deep watering, which is really important. We always want to offer our plants deep watering and less frequent so that they have time to dry out between waterings. So as we approach winter, we might want to change our irrigation system. Whether or not we're having rain, the sun is less strong and the air temperature is not as high, so soil is not drying out as quickly. So what we can do is check our soil between waterings, whether we have an irrigation system or we're just doing it by hand, and see, do we need to water on the same schedule that we have been? Or can we push our watering for another day or so, or maybe even a few days? Because the soil is not drying out as quickly as it was in the heat of the summer. So this doesn't mean you water less in each watering. You're still watering very deeply, but you might extend either your watering out by hand or your irrigation system to water less frequently. And that ultimately could be, once a week, once every 2 weeks, or maybe eventually you turn it off if we are getting consistent rain. But we don't want to turn it off too soon in case we don't get as much rain as we intended, or maybe we'll get rain next week and then who knows when we'll get the next one. So we still want to be aware. Maybe we'll skip next week because we're going to get rain. But if we don't see rain in the forecast for a few weeks, we do want to make sure we're still getting plants water when they need it. So it will just continue, as always, these are not set it and forget it systems. You're still going out into your garden, feeling the soil and adjusting according to the weather. And just like Suzanne mentioned at the beginning, when we're planting new plants, we're going to always water deeply at the drip line. We do that with our established plants as well. It never changes. We're always focusing on the outer edge of those roots to help expand the root zone. So with established trees and shrubs, the roots that are further out, that are thin, and those are the roots that actually absorb water. It's not those big, healthy roots right at the base of the trunk of the plant. Those are more anchor roots holding the tree in place. It's those far away edge roots that are getting the water. So that's where we want our water to be, at the root zone on the outer edge. And then, so this photo shows kind of where the drip line is, the outer edge of the trees, but a little bit beyond and a little bit inside as well. And then we also, of course, we want to make sure we have mulch on the root zone. I'm going to be honest, I don't know why this picture stops the roots at the drip line. So I would keep going with that mulch. We don't want to get it too close to the trunk like displayed on this picture. We do want to keep the mulch several inches away from the base of the plant, the trunk, but we want to extend that mulch out to protect the whole root zone. And then while we're checking our soil for, adjusting our irrigation schedules, we should also be checking our irrigation materials, making sure there's no leaks. Late in the summer, rats and rodents can come and chew on these irrigation lines because they're looking for water. So you might have sprung a leak. And we really don't want, extra water flying into the garden when there's also rain happening. That's just a waste of water and a waste of money. a broken or missing sprinkler head could waste as much as 25,000 gallons of water, and that's almost $150 a month during your irrigation system. So again, check for leaks, make sure the water is going where you want it to go. That also, I kind of should have mentioned also, as your plants grow, you want your irrigation to expand with your plants. So your plant might have been nice and small like this, but now it's bigger. So we're going to expand the irrigation to hit the new, bigger root zone. And then we want to look around our yard and make sure that we are preventing runoff as much as possible. We do talk more about this in, we did a program called Retain the Rain with Sloat, I think last, I don't know, a couple months ago, but you can check it out on their website. We go more into how to prevent runoff on your property. But we want to, that help all the things we've talked about with building healthy soil and planting now and using mulch can help prevent runoff. It keeps water on site and in the soil where you want it, but also things like berms and rain gardens and swales can also help, redirect the water from just flowing off into the street and keep it on your property. The goal with preventing runoff is to reduce overloading the storm drains. You've probably all saw some storm drains being clogged or just overloaded last year, and that causes flooding and that causes problems with cars and structures too. So we want to reduce as much of that as we can. Also, running off, as we talked about at the beginning, runoff into the storm drains can bring pollutants into the waterways. So we're going to prevent this by, keeping mulch and soil and debris from clogging the storm drain. Some neighborhoods and cities have adopt a drain programs. So you can, if there's a drain in your neighborhood that always gets clogged, you can be in charge of that drain to always make sure it's clear before a rainstorm. And note around your yard where there is standing water or things are draining poorly. We definitely don't want this scene where the rain is pooling and it's up around a trunk of a tree. That is definitely going to cause problems for that tree, diseases and rot. So we really want to note any areas that we see where this is happening, and when the dry season comes or when the area dries out, that's when you can deal with it. So you're going to maybe increase the soil, infiltration and water holding capacity, build berms or anything to get that water away from that area where there was flooding and pooling.